The encrypted communications that flashed between the German Defense Ministry and Lockheed Martin's Fort Worth facility at 0300 GMT last Tuesday contained details that would fundamentally alter the trajectory of European defense cooperation. Germany's Luftwaffe had formally requested an expansion of its F-35 Lightning II procurement from the originally planned 35 aircraft to a potential fleet of 80 stealth fighters, effectively doubling its commitment to American fifth-generation airpower. Within hours, the Élysée Palace was convening emergency sessions with defense officials, while Dassault aviation executives found themselves fielding urgent calls from French government liaisons, demanding explanations for what many saw as a catastrophic blow to European strategic autonomy.
Wir werden von nun an Jahr für Jahr mehr als 2% des Bruttoinlandsprodukts in unsere Verteidigung investieren.
The decision represents more than just an aircraft procurement choice. It signals Germany's fundamental pivot toward American military technology at the precise moment when France had expected deepened cooperation on the Future Combat Air System program. Intelligence sources suggest that Germany's expansion request includes provisions for advanced variants carrying nuclear-capable weapons, a development that would reshape NATO's nuclear sharing arrangements and potentially marginalize France's role as Europe's primary nuclear deterrent advocate. The ripple effects are already cascading through defense ministries across the continent, with smaller NATO allies reconsidering their own fighter procurement strategies in light of Germany's decisive American alignment. What does this seismic shift in European defense priorities mean for the future of transatlantic relations? And can the Franco-German partnership that has anchored European integration for decades survive this fundamental disagreement over military sovereignty? The strategic environment driving Germany's expanded F-35 commitment reflects a continent grappling with unprecedented security challenges that demand immediate rather than aspirational solutions. Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine has shattered decades of European assumptions about territorial security, while Vladimir Putin's nuclear threats have forced NATO members to confront the reality that conventional deterrence may no longer suffice against an increasingly aggressive Moscow. Germany's geographic position as the Central European power places it at the focal point of any potential Russian advance westward, making the Luftwaffe's air superiority capabilities absolutely critical to NATO's collective defense strategy. The timeline pressures facing European defense planners have fundamentally altered procurement calculations, with the promise of advanced European fighters arriving in the 2040s seeming inadequate against threats that could materialize within months. France's vision of European strategic autonomy, embodied in programs like the Future Combat Air System, developed jointly with Germany and Spain, assumes a timeframe for development and deployment that current threat assessments suggest Europe may not possess. The war in Ukraine has demonstrated the decisive importance of advanced air defense penetration capabilities, electronic warfare systems, and precision strike platforms, all areas where the F-35 offers immediate operational advantages over current European alternatives. Germany's industrial base, while sophisticated in many military technologies, lacks the comprehensive aerospace capabilities that would enable rapid indigenous development of fifth-generation fighter technology. The Eurofighter Typhoon, despite ongoing upgrade programs, represents fourth-generation technology that intelligence assessments suggest would struggle to penetrate advanced Russian air defenses now deployed along NATO's eastern borders. France's Rafale, while more advanced than the Eurofighter in certain capabilities, still operates with technology generations that may prove inadequate against the integrated air defense systems that Russia has demonstrated in Ukraine. The economic pressures facing European defense budgets compound these capability gaps, with the costs of developing entirely new fighter programs potentially consuming defense resources that could otherwise address immediate capability shortfalls across multiple domains. Germany's expanding defense budget, while substantial, cannot simultaneously fund major indigenous development programs and meet urgent operational requirements for air superiority platforms capable of operating in contested environments. The political dynamics within NATO have added another layer of complexity, with the United States increasingly demanding that European allies shoulder greater responsibility for their own defense, while simultaneously offering advanced American systems that would deepen technological dependence. President Biden's administration has made clear that American security guarantees come with expectations of interoperability and burden sharing that favor American defense systems over European alternatives. The delicate balance between European autonomy and transatlantic integration has reached a tipping point where Germany must choose between French visions of independence and American offers of immediate capability enhancement. The Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II represents the most technologically advanced fighter aircraft currently in operational service, incorporating revolutionary stealth technology, sensor fusion capabilities, and network-centric warfare systems that fundamentally transform air combat dynamics. The F-35A variant that Germany is procuring weighs 13,290 kilograms empty and 31,800 kilograms at maximum takeoff weight, powered by a single Pratt & Whitney F-135 afterburning turbofan engine, generating 191.3 kilonewtons of thrust with afterburner engaged. The aircraft's stealth characteristics derive from its carefully sculpted airframe geometry, with chined fuselage sides, serpentine engine inlets, and faceted surfaces designed to deflect radar energy away from transmitting sources, resulting in a frontal radar cross-section smaller than a golf ball across most engagement frequencies. The integrated sensor suite centers around the AN/APG-81 active electronically scanned array radar, capable of simultaneously tracking hundreds of targets while maintaining low probability of intercept characteristics, with detection ranges exceeding 200 kilometers for fighter-sized targets and the ability to generate high-resolution synthetic aperture radar maps for ground targeting. The distributed aperture system employs 6 infrared cameras positioned around the aircraft's fuselage to provide 360-degree situational awareness, feeding real-time imagery to the pilot's helmet-mounted display system and enabling threat detection and missile warning capabilities that surpass any current European fighter design. The electro-optical targeting system, mounted beneath the aircraft's nose, provides long-range target identification and designation capabilities with infrared and television sensors, capable of detecting and tracking targets at ranges approaching 80 kilometers. The F-35's mission systems architecture represents perhaps its most significant advantage, with the common integrated processor capable of processing massive amounts of sensor data in real time, while simultaneously managing communications, navigation, and weapon systems through advanced data fusion algorithms. The aircraft's internal weapons bay can accommodate up to 8,160 kilograms of ordnance in stealth configuration, including AEM-120 AMRAAM air-to-air missiles, AIM-9X Sidewinder infrared missiles, and a variety of precision-guided air-to-surface weapons including the GBU-31 Joint Direct Attack Munition and AGM-158 Joint Air-to-Surface Standoff Missile. External pylons can carry additional weapons loads up to 13,608 kilograms total, when stealth requirements are relaxed for permissive environments. The Advanced Electronic Warfare Suite includes the NASQ-239 system, providing both passive threat detection and active countermeasures capabilities, while the secure communication systems enable real-time data sharing with other F-35s, ground stations and naval platforms through the multifunction advanced data link. Compared to the French Rafale, the F-35 offers superior stealth characteristics and sensor fusion capabilities, though the Rafale provides advantages in sustained turn rate and weapons flexibility with its ability to carry a broader range of European munitions. The Eurofighter Typhoon, while offering excellent air-to-air performance and super cruise capability, operates with significantly inferior stealth characteristics and lacks the comprehensive sensor integration that defines fifth-generation fighter operations. German procurement documents indicate plans to integrate European weapon systems, including the Meteor Beyond Visual Range air-to-air missile and Taurus cruise missile, providing enhanced strike capabilities specifically tailored to European operational requirements. The F-35's logistics and maintenance systems rely heavily on the Autonomic Logistics Information System, a global network that monitors aircraft health and predicts maintenance requirements, though this creates dependencies on American-controlled infrastructure that concerns French officials advocating for European technological sovereignty. The deployment of Germany's expanded F-35 fleet fundamentally transforms air combat scenarios across potential European conflict zones, providing capabilities that current threats would struggle to counter effectively. In an air superiority scenario triggered by Russian aircraft probing NATO airspace along the Baltic borders, German F-35s operating from Buchel Air Base would detect incoming Su-35 fighters at ranges exceeding 180 kilometers, while remaining virtually invisible to Russian radar systems until the enemy aircraft closed to within 40 kilometers. The engagement would begin with German pilots launching AIM-120D missiles from maximum range, exploiting the F-35's superior situational awareness and targeting capabilities to achieve first-shot advantages that would be decisive in beyond visual range combat. Russian pilots, operating without comparable sensor fusion and stealth protection, would find themselves targeted by missiles they could not effectively counter while being unable to achieve weapons-quality tracks on the German fighters. The F-35's electronic warfare capabilities would simultaneously jam Russian aircraft radar systems and communications, creating confusion and preventing coordinated responses that might otherwise overwhelm individual German aircraft. In a deep strike scenario against hardened Russian targets in Kaliningrad, German F-35s would penetrate integrated air defense networks that have proven effective against conventional NATO aircraft during previous exercises. The mission would begin with F-35s approaching at low altitude to minimize detection by long-range surveillance radars, using their stealth characteristics to evade S-400 surface-to-air missile systems until reaching launch parameters for Taurus cruise missiles. The advanced targeting systems would enable precision strikes against command bunkers, radar installations, and missile launchers, while the aircraft remained outside the engagement envelope of most Russian air defense systems. The F-35's ability to share real-time targeting data with other NATO platforms would enable coordinated strikes that could suppress entire air defense networks within hours rather than the days required using conventional attack methods. Naval strike scenarios in the Baltic Sea would showcase the F-35's maritime targeting capabilities, with German aircraft detecting and engaging Russian naval forces using advanced radar modes optimized for over-water operations. The fighters would coordinate with German submarines and surface vessels to establish comprehensive maritime domain awareness, using their sensors to provide targeting data for ship-launched missiles, while simultaneously engaging high-value targets with their own precision weapons. Anti-ballistic missile scenarios would demonstrate the F-35's role in NATO's integrated air and missile defense architecture, with German aircraft providing early warning and intercept capabilities against Russian short-range ballistic missiles targeting NATO infrastructure. The F-35's advanced sensors would detect missile launches at maximum range, while data links would coordinate interception attempts with ground-based missile defense systems, creating layered defense capabilities that significantly enhance NATO's ability to protect critical facilities and military installations. Each scenario illustrates how Germany's F-35 expansion provides capabilities that fundamentally alter tactical calculations for potential adversaries, while creating new operational possibilities for NATO planners seeking to deter Russian aggression through credible defensive and offensive capabilities. The strategic ramifications of Germany's F-35 expansion extend far beyond simple capability enhancement, reshaping alliance dynamics, defense-industrial relationships, and the fundamental trajectory of European security integration in ways that will influence transatlantic relations for decades. NATO's operational effectiveness receives a substantial boost from Germany's commitment to advanced American fighter technology, creating enhanced interoperability between German and American forces, while providing the alliance with additional fifth-generation capabilities that significantly complicate Russian strategic planning. The decision validates American arguments that immediate capability enhancement through proven systems offers more credible deterrence than long-term European development programs that may not deliver operational platforms until the late 2040s. However, the choice simultaneously undermines French-led initiatives for European strategic autonomy, potentially fragmenting continental defense cooperation at precisely the moment when unity against Russian threats demands coordinated responses. President Macron's vision of a Europe capable of defending itself independently from American security guarantees suffers a devastating blow when Germany, Europe's largest economy and most influential military power, explicitly chooses American technology over European alternatives. The Future Combat Air System program, intended as the cornerstone of European aerospace independence, faces uncertain prospects when its primary partner nation demonstrates preference for competing American systems. French defense officials privately expressed concerns that Germany's F-35 expansion could trigger a cascade of European decisions favoring American systems, ultimately reducing European defense industrial capacity to subcontractor status, serving American prime contractors. The economic implications ripple through European defense sectors, with German procurement of American aircraft reducing potential orders for European manufacturers, while creating dependencies on American supply chains that could constrain European foreign policy options during future crises. Smaller NATO members observe Germany's decision as a signal about technological effectiveness and alliance priorities, with several nations reportedly reconsidering their own fighter procurement strategies in favor of F-35 variants rather than European alternatives. Poland's existing F-35 orders gain additional strategic significance when combined with German capabilities, creating an Eastern European airpower coalition aligned with American systems and potentially marginalizing French influence in regional security arrangements. The nuclear sharing implications prove particularly sensitive, with Germany's F-35s potentially receiving certification for American nuclear weapons that would enhance NATO's nuclear deterrence while reducing reliance on French nuclear capabilities. Russia responds to Germany's enhanced air power with accelerated development of advanced air defense systems and electronic warfare capabilities specifically designed to counter F-35 operations, while simultaneously expanding its own fifth-generation fighter programs to maintain competitive parity. China observes European divisions over defense technology choices as a validation of its strategy to prevent Western technological coordination, while potentially seeking to exploit Franco-German disagreements through selective engagement with individual European nations. The broader transatlantic relationship experiences both strengthening and strain, with enhanced military interoperability, improving NATO effectiveness, while creating new dependencies that could constrain European strategic flexibility during future diplomatic crises involving American interests. Despite the impressive capabilities that Germany's F-35 expansion will provide, significant limitations and practical constraints temper the strategic impact these aircraft can realistically achieve within current political and operational frameworks. The most immediate challenge centers on pilot training and maintenance infrastructure, with the complex systems aboard fifth-generation fighters requiring extensive specialized training that typically takes 3 to 4 years to fully develop, meaning Germany's expanded F-35 capabilities will not reach full operational potential until the early 2030s. These sophisticated maintenance requirements for stealth aircraft demand specialized facilities, equipment, and personnel that Germany is still developing, creating potential bottlenecks that could limit aircraft availability during sustained operations. Cost considerations impose harsh realities on operational planning, with each F-35A carrying a unit cost approaching $80 million and operational costs per flight hour exceeding those of current Eurofighter operations by substantial margins, constraining training opportunities and potentially limiting deployment flexibility during peacetime. The dependence on American logistics networks and technical support creates vulnerabilities that could constrain German operational independence during potential crises where American and German interests might diverge, particularly regarding engagement rules or target selection in complex European scenarios. The F-35's advanced systems, while providing significant advantages, also introduce complexity that could prove problematic during high-intensity operations where simplified, robust systems might offer greater reliability under stress. Political constraints within German domestic politics continue to limit how these enhanced capabilities can actually be employed, with constitutional restrictions and public opposition to military engagement potentially preventing full utilization of the F-35's offensive capabilities even during legitimate defensive scenarios. The aircraft's stealth characteristics, while impressive, are not absolute and can be compromised by certain radar frequencies, environmental conditions, and operational requirements that might force external weapons carriage, reducing the stealth advantages that justify the substantial procurement costs. Training infrastructure limitations mean that German pilots may continue relying on American facilities for advanced tactical training, creating dependencies that could be exploited during future diplomatic disagreements or budget constraints. The integration of European weapon systems with F-35 platforms requires extensive certification processes controlled by American authorities, potentially limiting Germany's ability to employ preferred European munitions or adapt to evolving threat environments without American approval. Industrial offset requirements and technology transfer restrictions prevent German companies from gaining the deep technical knowledge that would enable truly independent operations and maintenance capabilities. Germany's F-35 expansion represents only the initial phase of a broader transformation in European air power that will reshape continental defense capabilities and alliance relationships throughout the 2030s and beyond. The Luftwaffe has already initiated planning for advanced F-35 variants that will incorporate enhanced electronic warfare capabilities, improved engines, and next-generation weapon systems that could provide even greater advantages over potential adversaries. Integration with emerging loyal wingman programs offers possibilities for force multiplication, with each manned F-35 potentially controlling multiple unmanned combat aircraft that extend sensor coverage and weapons capacity across vast operational areas. The development of artificial intelligence systems for threat assessment and target prioritization could transform F-35 operations from pilot-intensive missions to AI-assisted campaigns that dramatically reduce human workload while improving mission effectiveness. Germany's growing space-based intelligence capabilities will integrate seamlessly with F-35 sensor networks, creating comprehensive surveillance and targeting systems that span from low Earth orbit to ground-level operations. The broader implications for European defense cooperation remain uncertain but potentially transformative, with France likely accelerating independent development programs while seeking new partners less committed to American systems. The FCAS program may pivot towards serving nations that prioritize European autonomy over immediate capability enhancement, potentially creating parallel European and American-aligned defense industrial blocs within NATO. Advanced manufacturing technologies, including additive manufacturing and artificial intelligence, assisted design could enable more rapid development cycles for European alternatives, though the timeline advantages currently favor American systems. Germany's decision creates pressure on other European nations to clarify their own priorities regarding technological sovereignty versus immediate capability requirements, with some likely following Germany's American alignment, while others support French autonomy initiatives. The arms race implications prove significant, with Russian and Chinese military planners forced to accelerate their own advanced fighter programs, while developing specific countermeasures designed to neutralize F-35 advantages. Electronic warfare technology development will intensify as adversaries seek methods to compromise F-35 sensor and communication systems, potentially triggering rapid evolution in stealth and counter-stealth capabilities across all major military powers. The economic competition between American and European defense industries will intensify, with both sides seeking to capture market share in smaller NATO nations whose procurement decisions could determine the long-term balance between American and European influence in continental defense. As F-35 Lightning IIs begin their patrol patterns over German skies, carrying with them the weight of technological promise and the burden of alliance fractures, a fundamental question emerges that will determine the fate of European security for the next generation. Germany's bet on American airpower has drawn a line in the sand that forces every European nation to choose sides. But what happens when France retaliates by cutting Germany out of future European defense programs, potentially leaving Berlin isolated between an unreliable America and a vengeful Paris? While Putin watches and waits for the perfect moment to exploit the chaos,